Welcome to the Old Cranky Man Collectibles YouTube channel. My name is Blake. I'm here with Stefan.
I'm a meat popsicle.
We're watching some Canadian Highlander today. At the top of your screen, you have Jacob playing John Lands. At the bottom of your screen is Cole playing Jeskai Tempo. Cole's points are Ancestral Recall, Mana Drain, Treasure Cruise, and True Name Nemesis. And he's going to get things started off with a Wooded Foothills, finding a volcanic island.
That's nice.
So
Jacob, our most recent quarterly winner.
Last quarter he picked up the Badlands with Naya Initiative,
Which is sort of a misnomer. It's a Naya combo deck featuring Initiative.
He was able to take down the mirror in the finals because he had 2 and 3 card creature combo decks.
Is it a Ponder there, preordained?
Yep. Cole finished off his turn with a Ponder.
Yeah.
Looks like he put 3 on top and drew a card.
You'll always recognize Jacob because of the nicely manicured nails.
Cure. I love that. I love that slate gray color. So I know that Jacob has crop rotation and strip mine, but I cannot recall what the remainder of his points are. So hopefully they'll come up
sort of
in the games.
Stock starting points for a lands list is strip mine, crop rotation.
Absolutely. He's just going to play a Canyon Slow tapped.
Slow? A Canyon Slough? A land that is fetchable but comes in tapped. I love those lands.
I mean, it cycles, so you've got like dredge synergies. Looks like a Copperline Gorge followed by a Thoughtseize.
Yeah, I always like pitching those to Ren and 6 and then getting them back.
Cole's gonna reveal a Stifle, a Teferi, a Snapcaster Mage, and I'm not sure what that other card is.
Looks like a Force of Will.
It is a Force of Will. Yes, that is the RFK or RKF.
No, that's just the regular art from the Dominaria remaster.
Oh, RKF didn't do the regular one?
No, just the promo.
I love me some Richard Kane Ferguson.
Got a Zurin Orb coming out. Also a great combo piece of lands. You get to sack lands for free to gain 2 life. Notably,
and
lots of combos.
If you have something like a Titania on board,
yeah.
You can just make a whole bunch of elementals.
A Crucible and a Fast Bond, you gain infinite life.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. There's a lot of... It's such a weird little 0-mana artifact that feels like it does nothing. Because, like, who's going to sack their lands to gain 2 life? If that was all that it did, then, got the third land played out, sort of a pass situation.
Jacob, so the Thoughtseize took care of the Teferi, and we're just playing Drago from Cole's side at this point. So an Expedition map going to come down. It looks like Jacob does not have the third land.
That's ironic. That's irony. Alanis Morissette, get at me. Lands deck, missing land drops.
He takes a Scavenging Ooze in his draw step, so... that looks like a Findhorn Elves.
It is. It's not the ugly one. Not the one that looks like a cardboard cutout at a
I love that Findhorn Elves.
Oh.
Cole is just sloppy all over the place here.
And we see a nice cameo of your head.
Yeah, there's me. There's me coming in to reorganize these fellas.
So shiny.
It was freshly polished when we recorded this.
Yeah, I think that Thoughtseize definitely hurt Cole's game plan. He was really banking on that Teferi doing something.
No, Jacob's not really doing much to affect the board at this point. He's sandbagging that Force of Will. I think Cole's in a pretty good position.
I honestly, though, you'd say that, but once you spend that Force of
Will... He's got a Summoner's Pact in his hand, I believe, so that's one of his other points. I think that lands... It typically is not a very good matchup for Cole for Jeskai Tempo because Jeskai Tempo, interacts a lot with the stack. and lands don't really use the stack. His counter spells don't do anything against land drops. A fire, half a fire, and ice going to take out the Findhorn Elves and deal 1 damage to Jacob.
I agree, but the other part of Jeskai tempo is the tempo part, that is to say applying pressure, and right now Cole has absolutely none.
Sure, but without being under any pressure from Jacob at this point, he's not pressed to do anything at this moment.
It's true, but Jacob can just get a life from the loam, start really drawing some land, start getting some lands in hand.
So Jacob does pick up the 3rd land, and a Plague Engineer comes down.
Plague Engineer naming what, I wonder?
I do believe I actually asked them, and I think he names Wizard. Then we had a side conversation about how I think it's better to name Human.
It's an occupation versus a race.
Sure, but Human also takes out the Iconoclast. It takes out Young Pyromancer.
Yeah, it kills the Snapcaster Mage right away.
Wizard does that too, though.
It's true. I in an unknown situation, I think Human is the safe bet. We got a Mercurial Spell Dancer there, a card that you sold me on pretty hard.
The most important line of text on that card is the first one. It cannot be blocked.
True. Yep. Takes the initiative real good, like.
Absolutely.
It just shocks your opponent every turn. And, there's some additional advantage you can accrue from it. That text is just bonus.
The rest of the text is just icing on the cake. So it's a 2-mana 2/1. It can't be blocked. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you put an oil counter on it. Mm-hmm. And then when it deals combat damage, you can remove 2 oil counters. If you do, copy the next instant or sorcery spell that you cast this turn.
Yeah, that's just rewarding you for the game plan already.
Jacob's going to point a fatal push at the Mercurial Spell Dancer, and that's going to get met with a Mental Misstep.
Pay 2 counter. Love those free counter spells. Sort of my favorite ones right now are just the ones you don't have to pay mana for.
Mental Misstep is not something that I have ever been super duper high on. In these formats, granted, it's a free counter spell. Some of the best cards in this format cost 1 mana.
Ancestral Recall.
Absolutely, Ancestral Recall, which Cole does definitely have in his deck. But I just don't love, being held inside of that box. I want a little bit more versatility in this. But I tend to play a little bit bigger blue decks.
I would agree. The reason that I think that it's doing well right now is there's a lot of effects in especially in red, where it allows you to discard cards to draw, specifically the Kiki-Jiki Saga.
Sure.
That lets you pitch those sort of, I don't want to say useless, but less useful contextually.
Sure. Right. If it's a dead card in hand, you can just get rid of it.
Mental Misstep, I think I may have held it up for the crop rotation, because mental misstepping a crop rotation is big.
Well, at this point, Jacob's still stumbling on lands. I think Cole's trying to make his move. You see him committing a Snapcaster Mage to the board here. That's going to flash back a Brainstorm. 3 cards coming.
Yeah, it still gets the ETB trigger even though it dies due to state-based actions. Because it's going to die to the Plague Engineer there.
Yep, and you see it going to the graveyard there.
Yeah, but it still gets to double up the spell. What are we getting? I don't know what he cast off of that.
He flashback Brainstorm.
Oh, he just brainstormed off of it. Okay.
So he's going to get in there with the Mercurial Spell Dancer. That's going to connect, take Jacob down to 15, and he will remove 2 oil counters and copy an Unholy Heat twice. Wow!
Woof.
And Mercurial Spell Dancer doing what it does, that Unholy Heat is going to put another oil counter back on there. Once you get this card rolling, it is just a snowball, man. Going downhill and getting bigger and bigger every turn.
I said that I would have held up that mental misstep for the crop rotation. Nope. You protect the spell that's going to let you double all your spells.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was getting at. Jacob's going to play a Courser of Krufix, and that's going to get met with a Force of Will, pitching a Force of Negation.
Oh man!
And I think with just a couple of cards left in hand, Jacob is going to basically need a miracle to be able to get out of this.
I don't think it's unwinnable though. You know, Cole expended a lot of cards there to counter Jacob's plan, and Jacob has some absolute haymakers. The real issue at this point is the lack of lands.
Yep. And Cole really being able to capitalize on that. Mm-hmm. Just doing what Tempo does and playing spell after spell. Here you see a mental note that's going to mill a couple of cards. It gets copied by the Mercurial Spelldancer.
Yeah, that card, very hard to find lately.
That's my dog, Charlie. He just thought he'd pop in real quick and say hello.
Are you telling me that the dog is not at the game store barking at our players? We got a Scavenging Ooze. Okay.
Here's a subtlety for the Scavenging Ooze, so that's gonna go away.
Hard choice, top or bottom.
Jacob now deciding whether he wants to put it on the top or bottom. It goes to the bottom.
Hard casting the subtlety too, or that card is gonna probably take over this game. It has evasion.
Subtlety, underappreciated. Card's very, very good.
I'm running it right now.
Card is very, very good.
My Jeskai list. I think it's fantastic. It's a threat. It's an answer. Like, I don't think that you want to be evoking it. That's like the worst case scenario, but casting it is great.
There's a Tireless Tracker coming down from Jacob.
Let's see if he has the second land in hand.
Dress Down is going to hit the field from Cole's side. Mercurial Spelldancer is going to get a counter. He's going to get a draw card.
Yep, I love that card. Dress Down, absolutely incredible at killing Urza Saga tokens.
Yeah, absolutely. So you see he did that in response there to the Tireless Tracker, and Jacob did not have another land to follow that up with, so it would have just been a 3/2 blocker at that point.
Yep. I don't think Jacob's got to have some sort of answer here. Cole's got that Spelldancer. It's gonna go the distance.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's been stuck on these 3 lands this whole game. I know he's holding a Primeval Titan in his hand, and it looks like that's an Eldritch Evolution. So we're going to see a 5-drop come in here.
Went down to 1, paying life for that.
I would imagine this probably gets. Man, I mean, he could get Titania and he could make a bunch of 5/3s, but he's dead in the air.
Yeah. So Eldritch Evolution does exile itself on resolution. So Jacob should be putting that in the exile zone. But I don't know that it's going to matter.
Yeah, I don't know that he has a way out of this. So Titania will gain him 6. He'll make 3 5/3s. Sorry, the Zurin Orb will gain him 6. He'll make 3 5/3s. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure what that... It is a Titania, I think.
Yeah. So goes to 7, takes 2 off of the... He might... So Subtlety's is it 4 power?
Subtlety.
Because that would give Jacob enough power to have lethal.
He is a 3/3.
So it's a 3. So it's 5 damage on the swing.
Okay, so he goes back down to 1.
Yeah, but then he would have lethal.
Yeah. Oh wow.
20 power on board.
What an interesting turn of events.
Yeah, sort of what lands can do. And again, it's the power of that Zurin Orb, weirdly.
Yeah, and you know, Jeskai not really being able to interact with this beyond, you know, an unconditional removal spell. I suppose a Bolt that he can copy with the Mercurial Spelldancer will also take care of that. But I think...
What just happened?
I believe Jacob picked up that game.
That's interesting.
I could be wrong. I don't see any reason to not play that out.
Yeah.
Maybe that was just Jacob conceding without more information. You know, who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, I think Jacob was well positioned there. Ironically, being at 1, He can gain a bunch of life. He can gain enough life to survive and swing for lethal. He would put 20 power on board. And he only needed 2 attackers or 3 attackers to get through. So Cole would basically lose both of his creatures to go to 4. And then any land that Jacob drew would be 2 life plus a 5 powered body.
Really, really unclear who picked that game up.
Yeah.
But we'll move on to the next one.
I'm going to point out the Unfinity boosters on the right-hand side. You bought those for everybody.
Yep, those were the packs that I handed out on this particular day. I like to do a little mix. The game store has been completely dry on Phyrexia All Will Be One packs, so it's just been kind of a mixed bag of what I've been passing out to people.
I adore the Infinity. I'm going to be honest. I think the cards are fun and funny, and aside from my quibbles with the black border versus silver border, the cards look great. The flavor text is funny, and the basics are beautiful. I will slam any basic that I open into a deck.
Yeah, they are absolutely gorgeous. Unfortunately, nobody opened a Shockland on this particular day. I opened a pair of Lost Dice, so I thought that was pretty cool.
I opened
assuming that Jacob lost that game because he's going on the play here. And he's going to start with a Overgrown Tomb into an Elvish Reclaimer, and that's going to get met with a Flame Slash from Cole. Both players going down to 18.
Reclaimer is a Bob?
Yeah, Dark Confidant coming down from Jacob.
I only see Bob.
Reclaimer is the crop rotation on a stick.
Yeah, it's not as good.
No, not hardly.
But I do use it as the second unpointed crop rotation. It's, it has to be able to tap. It's 2 mana, and the land comes in tapped. All that said, it is still absolutely worth it.
No doubt. It's also a 3-power attacker most of the time in this deck.
Yeah, it turns into quite a body. You can also do fun things with it where you block, hold priority, tap it, sack a creature, or sack a land to get a new land. Then you have the threshold of the 3 lands in graveyard, and suddenly it's a giant body.
Yeah, you did that to me once. I didn't play around it. Yeah, not gonna lie, I didn't even see it.
I did kill you with Ren and 6 that game.
Also didn't play around that.
Yeah, you didn't play around it. Go to 1 Ren and 6 on board. All right, so we got a Preordain or Ponder. I can never tell the two. And that's a natural order.
Yeah, so that's another one of his points. So we're at crop rotation, natural order, strip mine, summoner's pact. So that's 1.
That's 9.
6. That's 7.
Natural order is 4.
8. That's 8. Natural order is only 3.
Oh, that's right. It did go down to 3. I should know.
A Canker Bloom on the side of Jacob there. Another absolute all-star from Phyrexia All Will Be One. Canker Bloom. It's the new.
There's a fun interaction with Canker Bloom where you can put additional counters on your opponent's battles now. You can proliferate the counters up. I really like that.
Cole, with an expressive iteration, he's going to exile a Rogran Triome.
Card's so good they banned it twice.
So that's going to come down this turn.
Another card banned in Legacy, legal and modern. All right, got a fetch land going for it. No stifles up. So we've got a Bob and a Canker Bloom in play, and we know that we have a natural order in hand.
It's Jacob's discarding the hand size. He bins a lose focus there.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, Cole did.
Oh, Cole. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah. So loose focus getting binned. That's fine. I think it just means that he has additional counter magic in hand. I know people have loved loose focus. I'm not as big of a fan.
I love this card. I love me a loose focus. 10 out of 10.
Feels too much like a hard control card to me.
We'll play it way before I ever consider putting a mental misstep in my deck.
Interesting. I think that just goes to show you like the different styles of counter magic and how they play into different people's.
I gotta have that versatility there.
Yeah, I just have a hard time with the conditional counter magic. Where
mental misstep is also conditional.
But the tax effects, that is, wherein like once they get a certain amount of mana on board, it just does nothing.
Then you also have that same amount of mana, and you can replicate it multiple times. You're not winning.
Dear viewer, you can't see this, but I'm giving Blake a look right now.
Cankerbloom and Dark Confidant going to hit the red zone.
And why not? Why shouldn't we?
Just have a ton of cards in hand.
Cankerbloom 3 power for some reason.
There's a Noble Hierarch.
And a Zeator's Proving Ground. Passing the turn. Do we have a Raugrin over on the right hand, on the Cole side?
That is a Raugrin Triome, yes.
Raugrin. So we got 3 lands up. This game's going much faster, much to Cole's chagrin.
Both players kind of firing on all cylinders here.
The extra cards from Bob really making a difference for Jacob.
Absolutely, and he's really able to parse that with being able to put pressure on Cole's life total here. Try to get this game over with as soon as possible. Young Peasy gonna come down for Cole,
making some elementals, and he wants to read Natural Order. I don't know that Jacob's ever gonna fire this off, especially with counter magic up. Cole leaves any amount of mana up. I don't fire off a Natural Order.
You got to make him have it.
I would if I didn't already have a good board state.
At worst, he's losing a Noble Hierarch here. He's still going to be able to put pressure on. I will snap that off and get that counter magic out of his hand, make him use his mana for the turn so that he can't kill my creatures.
I'd attack with that Cankerbloom. Just call that good. He's not going to block with the Young Pyromancer. Oh, the Thoughtseize. Okay. Now I think we have the ability.
He will have Natural Order mana up after that.
Probably going to hit with the Thoughts or a counter spell.
Going to Brainstorm in response. So we got a Young Pyromancer trigger coming.
We love the Brainstorm in response to hand attack. You get to draw 3 and then put the ones you want to hide from the hand attack back on top. I love this. I do love this interaction.
Yep, that's a really heads up play.
Cole is sort of newer to our group,
but not new to Magic.
No, he is an exceptional Magic player.
He has been a dedicated CEDH player for years and years and years. And when he saw that our group was growing and we were shaking up a lot of interest in this format, he really wanted to get in and sink his teeth in, and has since basically converted from CEDH to Canadian Highlander.
Which I think a lot of CEDH players would do.
So we're going to see...
If they played the format.
We're going to see a Force of Will, a Ragavan, a Stifle, a Lightning Bolt, and a Fiery Islet, and I am not sure what that proxy is.
Is that a Wandering Emperor, maybe?
It looks to be... No, honestly, I'm not sure.
It could just be an altar. Cole has an impressive collection.
Well, I think that it's an Ancestral Recall, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah, that would make sense. So you just take the recall here, or what? Makes you wonder what he hid with the Brainstorm.
I am kind of digging taking the Lightning Bolt, or if I really want to resolve that Natural Order, I'll take Force of Will.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
Not super worried about my opponent getting 3 random cards on top. I have no control over that. I'm gonna take away their ability to interact with me and make them be at the mercy of the top of their library.
There goes the Force.
Yep, he does take the Force of Will.
So now he can fire off the Natural Order. Probably should have attacked first to get that. To get the. Oh, he's sacking the Cankerbloom? That's an interesting choice. To me, I would have attacked with the Canker Bloom, gotten the trigger to make it a 4/3, then probably gotten rid of the Noble Hierarch. We're on 5 lands now. It's not like we need the additional mana.
Well, I don't know about... Oh, that's a Tyrannix Rex.
Oh my god. That's a lot of words on there that are bad for blue players. I think it reads scoop up the game, chump, to a blue mage. Oof. Man. That's a good pick for Jacob there. Does it have haste as well?
It does have haste. It does have haste. So now we know why. Now we know why he didn't attack and why he did not sack the Noble Hierarch.
Now it's a 9/9. And if it connects at all, he gets 4 poison counters.
So before we go to combat here, we're going to kill the Noble Hierarch. Okay. Looks like Jacob's going to float a mana.
We're going to get another elemental token.
And now Dinosaur Baby in the red zone.
Do you block? Probably not.
Well, the difference between going to, 2 and going to 3 or 4 is probably not negligible. But you are staring down an 8/8 with Trample that has Ward 4 that you absolutely cannot pay for right now. So I don't know that blocking makes a ton of difference.
I don't know if you should have bolted there, honestly. If you have a certain amount of bodies on board, you bolt the player. You go upstairs. That way you have 4.
Yeah, well, we can get in for 3. Bolt would be 6. We need to figure out how to find an additional 4 points of damage.
Yeah, and that's a recall. So that is a recall, I believe.
That is an Ancestral Recall.
Yeah.
Interesting. He paid a Mystic Sanctuary there, but I don't think he put a card on top of his deck. He does have 3 islands.
Yeah. He just chose not to. Is that a May?
I believe Mystic Sanctuary is a May, but... Yeah.
There was probably nothing he wanted to put on top.
I suppose none of the cards in his graveyard really get him out of it. He does have a lot of mana, though, and something like I don't know if he's running Solitude. If he was able to pick up a Solitude off the top of his deck, he could play for the Ward 4 and evoke the Solitude. I'm not sure if that's in his deck. There's a Ragavan coming down. He is going to get into the red zone. Bob is going to trade with the Dark Confidant, or Bob is going to trade with the Ragavan.
Bob is sort of a liability at this point, too. Right.
Yep, I suppose that is kind of the hope, on Cole's side of the battlefield, is if he doesn't block with Bob, then, he takes another point of damage, and he's at the mercy of the top of his deck. He flips over something like a Primeval Titan.
Mm-hmm. This is probably why we didn't see Cole put anything back on top, because he has the Murktide he wanted to get out with a bunch of counters.
Sure.
So now Jacob sort of trying to figure out how to play around this.
And a Noble Hierarch, Ignoble Hierarch gonna come down, and I think that's probably it. We're gonna go to game 3 here. So yeah. Jacob gonna pick up game 2.
Because that was 5.
That Ignoble Hierarch was kind of a savage top deck there, to be honest.
Yeah. Cole expended a lot of resources there to stabilize, and I think he was actually doing good. But yeah, Jacob.
Yeah, if Jacob can't figure out a way to get that one additional point of damage in there, I think it's just lights out to that flyer.
Blake, have you considered Tyrannix Rex for your Reanimator deck? Because that seems pretty good.
Oh, I thought we had a concession there. We did not. Tyrannix Rex gets sideways, and
they traded.
With the Exalted Trigger, you had a 9/9, what is blocked by an 8/8 Murktide Region and a 1/1 Elemental token from the Young Pyromancer. So
interesting.
We were going to get a game 3 there. He's going to draw a card with the Fiery Eyelet. Wow, what a nail biter. He's getting in there.
4. Tapping 2. No, thinking about it. If Jacob's just sandbagging a lightning bolt right now.
I think we would have saw that while Cole was tapped out.
That's fair enough. Taking 3. This is definitely one of the decks where Young Pyromancer is most effective. Because it has the tools to protect the Pyromancer.
Fable of the Mirror Breaker going to come down from Jacob.
Okay. And a counterspell. That might wrap things up here. Jacob's dead on board to Cole's bodies.
Constant Mists?
We literally just talked about that card. I think
we're literally just talking about Constant Mists.
One of our players wants to play taking turns, and
3 fairies going to hit the side on Jacob here, and Jacob here. Cole, and unless Jacob has something,
that's game.
Stifle's going to take care of that. Wow. What a game. I really thought Jacob was ahead there towards the end.
Yeah, I like that kind of game now. Just play on both sides. Cole just very, very good player. I'm really hoping he can make it to the next quarterly.
Absolutely.
Think he'd do well.
Absolutely. At the very least, he would have a lot of fun.
No, I think they're just discussing decks. Got Prime Time, Titania, a lot of the land staples.
It's really interesting deck. I have thought about building lands from time to time. I just don't really think that it's like in my wheelhouse really.
I agree. It's same for me. Not agreeing that you wouldn't play lands.
not really something that I am super duper keen on doing.
No, it's definitely a deck you kind of have to be passionate about to want to play it. I've halfway put something together, but it's I think it performed well even with the losses to tempo. Just struggling with mana on that first game, and then second game was sort of a slugfest. Turned out well.
Absolutely, you'd love to see it. All right, well, I think that about does it for this game of Canadian Highlander. Listen, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the Old Cranky Man YouTube channel and make sure you turn that notification button on so that we get to annoy you every time we upload a video. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye-bye, friends.
Bye.